Pakistan starts mass deportation of undocumented Afghans. Jesus, I see what you've done for others. And I mean, it's Pakistan deporting. Ironic. Authorities go door to door to round up and return thousands, many who fled from the Taliban, on first day of nationwide crackdown. I mean, just the other day I did an interview with Miles Routledge. The Taliban sound like lovely, lovely people. Really love the Barbie movie. They like Titanic as well. Pakistan has begun arresting and deporting Afghan refugees who missed Wednesday morning's deadline for them to leave, a government minister has announced. At least 200,000 people have already returned to Afghanistan voluntarily, said Pakistani's acting Interior Minister Sarfraz Bugti. Go away. The crackdown on unregistered foreigners, part of Pakistan's new anti-immigrant policy, affects some 2 million Afghans thought to be in Pakistan without documentation. Bugti says there will be no compromise against illegal refugees. We have the data on who are staying illegally in Pakistan. We are going door to door, and we have done geofencing. We will detain and deport them. We have arrested dozens across the country so far, including in the capital. Oh, I just hope I read an article like this one day. It should have been me! Afghans would be put in buses, trucks, or whatever was available to transport them to the border, said Bugti, and authorities would be tracking them to ensure that they did not return. He attacked the West for not doing enough to help relocate Afghans at risk from Taliban retaliation if they return. Pakistan's policy of forcibly returning refugees has drawn widespread criticism from UN agencies and rights groups and from the Taliban administration in Afghanistan. Even the Taliban are condemning it, like, hey, we don't want them. Which has urged its neighbour to give undocumented Afghans more time. Although the numbers of Afghans crossing into Pakistan rose dramatically after the Taliban takeover, many others have been living and working in Pakistan for years. Refugee holding camps have been established for the thousands waiting to cross the border. In Chaman, a border town with Afghanistan, more than 1,000 refugees are staying in temporary shelters, anxiously awaiting their turn to be deported. Gul Mohammed, an Afghan in his 50s, said he does not know what he would do in his home country, having lived in Pakistan for many years and with family there. I will see what I can do to survive in Afghanistan after I reach there. I have tried to contact those who have reached Afghanistan to know how they are doing, but I failed. Uncertainty waits for many of us, said Mohammed. I know a gold mine you can work in. Pakistan started rounding up Afghan refugees before the deadline had expired, and police had been accused of the harassment of both illegal and legal refugees. In the Chaman camp, Saddam, who moved to Pakistan 7 years ago, said the constant police raids had made him leave. They were raiding, arresting, and harassing us, and I was forced to leave for Afghanistan. The police were hurting our dignity by their cruel behaviour. Also in the camp was Mir Aga, 23, who said, I was born and raised in Pakistan. All my siblings were born here. We had proof of refugee cards given by the UNHCR, but they were scissored by the police after they arrested us. Jesus Christ. Pakistan is now home, not Afghanistan, and we will be refugees there. We can't relate there. We are refugees in both countries. I'm worried about how I will survive and live there. Chaman District's Deputy Commissioner Raja Athar Abbas said authorities have deported at least 4,000 people on Wednesday. For the 1,000 refugees in the camp, he said, we are providing them boarding, lodging, food, medical and municipal services, and we have registered them with us before we deport them. The UNHCR has raised fears over forced deportations, especially of minorities, journalists and women who are at risk under the Taliban regime. Pakistan's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, Mumtaz Zara Balok, said that these groups would not be forced to return if the fear of deportation of journalists, activists and minority groups are in our notice, and we will take due precautions. But thousands of Afghans who worked for the US, Britain and other Western countries before the takeover are stranded in Pakistan. Yeah. Basically, everyone that was like working, most of the time it was as interpreters. There was interpreters working for the British and American forces, and they obviously, after the pullout, had to nope the fuck out of Afghanistan because, you know, the Taliban were looking for them and they're going to get sent back. So, yeah, we definitely should have done something to help them because they stuck their neck out to help us. But that just sends a big, massive message to everybody. You know, if your country's ever invaded by America or Britain, don't help them because if you do, they're just going to leave you stranded in a country full of people that fucking hate you and want to kill you. Taliban takeover are stranded in Pakistan. Bugti says that if the West was so sensitive about the Afghan refugees, they should have done more to relocate them in the 2 years since the fall of Kabul. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, we have shit tons of them arriving on our shores every morning. What more do you fucking want? We set a deadline for those Afghans who are supposed to be relocated to the Western countries, such as the US, UK, and other countries. If they are not taken to the West by the deadline, we have to declare them illegal refugees, then detain and deport them, said Bugti. A senior US official estimated that there are still 25,000 Afghans who could be eligible for resettlement in the United States. We are actively reaching out to and communicating with those individuals. Many within these groups would be placed at risk if repatriated to Afghanistan, said the official. And here we are at the end of the article. Now, here is a little bit of a nuanced take. It's not really a nuanced take, it's just my take. You don't have a right to live wherever you want. You don't. I think if there is a community that you want to live in, the community should be able to decide whether or not you can live there. I think that is completely fair. If you want to move to a country, a community might not want you, so there you go, you cannot live in that community. But there might be other communities who are like, yeah, refugees are welcome here, and then you can go live there. That's fine. You can be their problem, right? You don't have a right to live wherever you want all the time. You don't. You just simply don't. And I think countries, even Pakistan, even anywhere else, could be any country in the world, have a right to be worried about things like their society, their culture, their things like that shifting and being changed, or for government services being very, very overstressed with the amount of new people that are coming in who haven't paid into the tax pot in their entire lives because they're brand new to the country. And this tax pot is what pays for all these services. So basically, you're getting about 100 people that have paid into a pot that has been used to provide for about 200, 300 people. So the money in the pot runs out very fast, and we've just done a video on this channel about how loads of councils around Britain are going broke. They're about to file bankruptcy because of this exact same issue. So a country basically saying, Pakistan for the Pakistanis, that's absolutely fine. I know one that you can definitely have back. But yeah, I see no problem with that whatsoever. I mean, it's absolutely awful. It's terrible. But, maybe when they go back to Afghanistan, they can make the country a better place. But it does actually genuinely seem, especially given all the information that I was given from Miles when I was having a chat with him, that see now that shit's over, the Taliban have, switched off. It's almost like, when the Americans fully pulled out, the Taliban were like, it's over now. And they've apparently, allegedly, from what I've been told, they've mellowed the fuck out. They've mellowed out. So when everybody comes back, it'll be fine. You'll be able to find work. Apparently that's the main thing the Taliban are actually focusing on now, is building businesses and starting enterprises, which is why Miles is probably going to have a gold mine, like in Afghanistan, which I might be part owner of. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's a spicy meatball, but yeah, I don't know. I'll consider it. But yeah, I think it's fine what Pakistan are doing. I think it would be fine if any other country did that. You're not from here, so you shouldn't be here, and you don't have a right to live here. You don't have a right to live wherever you want. If a community says that it wants you, then fine, go live with that community. They have given express permission for you to live amongst them. However, other communities shouldn't have to be forced, because most of the times it's, for example, the way it works in Britain, you've got rich lefties that live in these very privileged neighbourhoods that migrants couldn't fucking hope to afford a fucking house in. So they don't have to deal with the problems. It's mostly the right-wing working class that, have their entire schemes and neighbourhoods and estates absolutely changed because all the migrants just keep getting dumped there. Right. So that's why the leftists don't actually have to deal with the repercussions of their awful decisions, but the right-wing working class do. Now, I don't know if you checked, but the working class in Britain, everyone says, it's Labour and this and that. No, they're pretty fucking right-wing. They're really fucking right-wing. Even in Scotland, a lot of people think that Scotland is majority left, and there are more leftists here than there is in England. But if you actually go out and actually have, most of these people don't actually talk to members of the working class, and they've got some spicy opinions. Let me fucking tell you. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it except based.